So,
So we
okay, with
played
Vadim.
the Soviet Grandmaster Vadim Milov. He was representing Switzerland in that period, of course. And we played some rapid chess in Solothurn, a very important rapid chess tournament, a lot of grandmasters. And this was one of the decisive games. I mean, the winner from our game had a very good chance to win the tournament, of course. And therefore, of course, he played for win, I played for win.
It was a
And
big fight.
the game was a Benoni, as always, and a very complicated line, and we'll see the result. Okay. So after knight f3 castle, bishop d3, I play e6, he played h3, and knight a6, and castle now, and knight c7. We have this position. This is a line that I introduced on the top tournaments like this against two well-known games. I think you remember them, against Taimanov and against Nemeth. And later on, the whole variation was called after myself, and right now in chess theory is called the Benoni Gheorghiu. This one, this variation. I mean, the idea for black is to take later on. I mean, you threaten to take the pawn from d5, but later, not immediately in the opening. The big difference that it's that if you take immediately, very quickly on d5, white has the possibility to put a knight very quickly in c4, and he's better in every position. Here, it's impossible. So therefore, the game is different and very instructive. Now he played a4, which is not very good, trying to protect immediately against the threat b5. In many positions, the threat b5 is very good for black. If he doesn't play a4, for instance, if he played a3 or rook b1, you have time to take in d5 and then very quickly b5, and then the game is okay for black, very quickly. So he plays a4, but now he has no possibility to play later on a3 and b4 with very good counterplay on the queen side, like in many positions from King's Indian. And now we transpose, the whole game now is transposed from Benoni into a King's Indian. And a very good King's Indian for black because white has no good counterplay on the queen side. You see, that is the big difference. The big difference that now, instead of having the counterplay with a3, rook b1, b4, everything is protected, and he has a weakness forever in b4, and therefore he has many problems later on in our game.
So everything will be on
So
the king side.
instead of a4, the good possibility for white was to play rook e1. After rook e1, the game is balanced like this. Rook e1, e1.
I1.
Instead of a4, rook
Yes.
e1 gives a very unclear game, for both. Until now, it's very complicated. Nobody knows who is better, but very complicated. But like this, everything will be forced, and it's in black favors, you see. All right, bishop g5, h6, bishop e3. Now he has to attack with tempo with queen d2. And if he has time to play queen d2, now if you play g5 or h5, white is better in every position, a little bit better all the time. But the big surprise is now that after knight h7, queen d2, black plays a new move. It was my home analysis, to say the truth. And everything is forced now. He has after f5.
So it was
It's
like
very unpleasant for white because you have immediately the threat f4 and you win a piece. If he takes now in f5 after pawn from g6 takes in f5, you threaten both e4 and f4, and you lose a piece with white in every position. There's no defense.
Yeah.
You can't defend both, f4 and
Yes.
d4. So, okay. So he doesn't take in f4, he has to take the pawn in h6. Okay, you take the pawn in g6 and in e4. Yeah. Knight h7 is all right. Queen d2, f5. Okay, and now he took in h6, of course. No? And
Yeah.
now the second surprise, f4. You give a pawn for initiative, with black. So he has to take in g7, of course. No? He has to take, you take with the king, and we see the result. White won a tempo, or won a pawn. I mean,
Yeah.
we gave a pawn, but we have a very big initiative with black. It's very pleasant, very good position. So after rook d1, knight g5. he has to play probably like in our game, bishop e2. No? And now we start the attack immediately. Rook h8, queen d3, because in some positions you want already to take in h3, giving a piece, but for very big initiative, you know. So after queen d3, we play knight a6, very important. Now we see the result. Now the knight comes back to b4 because you have the possibility he has a weakness in b4. You know? If the pawn was in a3, it was protected. You couldn't come there, you know. But now with the pawn in a4, you can.
But why you not focusing here? Why you come with the just
I
to
put a knight in a6 because later on the queen will be very badly posted in b1. You
just
see,
to harass
very far
the
away, you know, very far away.
to attack
So
the
the
queen?
best way to defend is rook a3, like he played in our game, but it's a little bit too late, you know, because the attack is too strong. So now knight b4, and now it's clear you have to go back in b1. Okay, now the queen is too far. Now you attack on the other side and you give a piece. It's a very strong attack, you know. Okay, now it's probably lost already for white, you see. Even without a piece, but you have a very, very strong attack. And knight a2, trying to, to get rid of this knight from b4, which is very unpleasant. And then you try to protect the third line, you see, like this, yeah. And okay, now in this position, you have to find the best move. The best move is rook h5. Very strong also because now black wants to give a check in g5, which is almost mate after rook g5. If you take in g5, it's finished, you know. So, okay, again, bishop f1, probably the only defense. So, and now after queen d7, again, you threaten immediately queen g4 check and white resigns. So what to do? The only defense again, knight h2. Okay, now I took in f1, and he has to take back with the king, because if he had to come back with the knight in f1 after queen g4 check, he has to give back the pawn, but the black continues the attack and wins, you see.
You give up the piece, not
The
the pawn.
piece, yeah, the piece, and you have time to play immediately rook h8, the other rook, threatening again mate, you see.
Yeah.
And later on, you can take also the piece. Well, completely winning, of course. And now it'll be very funny because the king from f1, I mean, the king is coming from g1, but will be mated on the other side later on, you see, which is unbelievable, yeah. Okay, king there in f1. I took the piece back and he took him before. Now, in meantime, we play first queen g4. We threaten mate in 1 now, you see. Rook h1 mate. So the only move is king u1. Queen g1 check. Everything is forced. King d2. We take back with check. He has to go there. Yeah. Now we took in b4. Yeah. He has to take, and now queen takes in b2 check. Now he had to accept the end game, which is completely winning because the two passed pawns G and F with without any problems.
Yeah.
So now he tried rook b3 was also very big time trouble, and now he gets mated, by force. Now a5 check, king b5, and now the last surprise, queen f1, queen f2, and the mate is unstoppable in c5, and he resigned, of course. But the whole game is almost unbelievable against a very strong Soviet grandmaster to have such a position, and everything forced, you see.
Yeah.
But such a king in b5, it's very, very difficult to find such a game in chess theory, like this. Well,
Beautiful.
it was funny, but very, very important theoretically and very beautiful game, of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.